Today's episode of Lions of Liberty is brought to you by MathBot.com. MathBot.com is a fun little game that fills a serious hole that the public and even the private schools miss, and that is knowledge of programming and the math behind programming. MathBot.com gives parents a much-needed tool to make sure their children don't fall behind in this new information age. Software is eating the world, and those who don't know how to code will be left behind as more and more jobs become automated. MathBot.com gives kids and even adults like me the knowledge needed to thrive in this new world. MathBot may just seem like a fun and simple game, but behind the scenes it uses the same method Julius Caesar, Isaac Newton, Einstein, and everyone else were all taught math before the state got its greasy hands into education. This method goes all the way back to classical Greece, the dawn of civilization. MathBot will gradually upload the math and logical skills needed to understand programming into the mind of any player. It's said that the pen is mightier than the sword, but now code is even mightier than the pen. So become mighty and learn to code over at mathbot.com.
Welcome to the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here's your host, your guide, your shining beacon of liberty, Marc Claire.
Hello, and welcome back. We're here again. We're doing it. We're talking. We're drinking. It is time again for libertarians in living rooms drinking liquor. A very special episode where we are finally, after several months, I think it was back in November when we last got together to do this, because it is very difficult to get 6 libertarians together at the same time on a Zoom phone call. So it is the return of the Liberty Draft, and I'm going to skip all the promotional BS. We'll get to that naturally throughout the show. I'm just going to bring in my compatriots here. I don't know. Someone start talking. Brian, you like to do that. Talk. Hi, Brian. Brian McWilliams, host of Electric Liberty
hello.
Land.
I'm looking to a riotous return for this first and second round, I guess, following our keepers for this draft. I did say I got fucked with our draft order. I'm pissed off about it, but I'm going to make up with some sneaky picks no one's going to see coming, stealing value where other people are going to fuck me by taking the top people before I get a shot, but that's all right.
I'd like to point a couple things out. Number one is that I emailed all of you guys and said, do you want to stick with the draft order, or do you not care if it's random? Brian was in the category of, I don't care.
I didn't care when I thought I wouldn't be, like, second to last.
I'm last.
Second of all,
I'm last.
I know,
dude.
but you got to
Second
pick
of
Ron
all,
Paul, so fuck you in the ass.
I don't have Ron Paul. JB
I
does.
have Ron Paul.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, well, good job, JB. Well, Howie, you're an idiot. What am I going to tell you?
Actually,
as always, it is a shit show, and I'm not going to bother introducing you. Howie is here, JB is here, Rico is here, and so is the host of Felony Friday, John Odermatt. We are all participating once again in the Liberty Draft, where we're drafting teams of libertarians to promote the ideas of liberty through the political and media processes with our eyes on 2020. So the idea right now is that the 6 of us are all drafting these teams, and we'll finish sometime before the actual elections in 2020, and I think we'll get a good idea of how things have actually shaken out in real life by that point. So
that's quite an ambitious goal. Are you saying we're going to finish this draft before 2020?
No, we might not. I'm saying by maybe November 2020 at this rate.
Rico, get closer to your mic, for the love of God.
As in every show, Rico's microphone is in the corner under the fucking bed. It's like, oh,
Jeez, I got to take it out of the corner. Ah,
he's like got it strapped to his dog's back, running around his fucking house, just yelling into it, rambling, chasing the dog around, trying to make his draft picks.
That's a good
idea. The dog got the microphone in his mouth.
It's really a constant conundrum for me, because while as a perfectionist audio-wise, it really bothers me when I hear shitty things in audio on podcasts. Like there were a couple Rico situations on the last Electric Liberty Land. At the same time, mishaps is part of Rico's charm and whole gimmick. So I'm very conflicted here. I kind of want it to continue and kind of
part
want
of his brand. So, Brian has the pronunciation thing. Rico has the audio thing.
I got great hair. You got that part.
You've got that purple studio
part. Odie's the black guy. I mean, JB's the black guy.
I'm the drunk guy.
No, it's Odie.
Howie's the Mel Gibson lookalike in his off time.
Odie's the black guy. Odie's our Bill Clinton. He's the first black podcaster, actually.
Hey, so I've got an ask from everybody, from the league. So
wow, we're going right into Howie demands.
Yeah,
okay,
it's not a demand. So I'm last, and that's fair. I know you used a random thing. That's cool. But I want to throw myself at the mercy of the other Lions and ask I would like to ask that I could rename my team because I was pretty drunk when I came up with my name last time. If you guys could grant me that, I am happy to be last.
It doesn't matter if you're happy to be last or not because the order's not going to change. However, I'm happy to let you change your team name.
Change your team name as many times as you want.
All right.
As long as we're clear, these are completely unrelated things.
All right. So you know how in college we had the Dark Alliance?
I do remember that.
I thought we didn't talk about
anyways,
that, but okay.
My new team name is the Dark Tom.
Is that where Dark Tom Woods
My
springs
new
from?
team name is the Dark Tom Woods Alliance.
The D.
All right, the Dark Tom Woods Alliance.
So
here's a question: can we draft fictional?
Hold on, that's
Characters
hold
that
on,
we
wait a minute.
weave
Let's
into
stop him right now, though.
existence?
Hold on. Didn't we say that this draft we were not going to be gerrymandering and trying to stack the polls in our favor by appealing sorts of unscrupulous acts like Odie did, trying to appeal to people that are on the Spangle podcast, or if this falls in that line.
Wait, what did I do that was unscrupulous? I did nothing unscrupulous.
Giving
Do we really want to go back to the last
favors
draft?
out.
Do we really want to go back to that?
Packages in the mail.
All I did was bring in my fixer, Roger Paxton, and whatever Roger did. I'm not going to get
You
involved
offered
in
me
that.
a Lions Liberty email, which apparently was a false promise.
If you have someone that you refer to as your fixer, something shady.
Yeah, exactly. So
obviously
Howie,
happening,
by
right? What is there to fix?
Howie adopting the Dark Tom Woods Alliance, he is pandering and trying to.
Who's he pandering to? A fictional meme
I
character?
know he's pandering to all those people that are in the Dark Tom Woods Legion.
The 7
with him.
dudes in on the joke on
Yeah.
Twitter.
I'm using
There's literally
meme
7
magic.
of
It's already got its own fucking Twitter account. So he's enlisting members of the military, the libertarian military, to back his team. It's not right.
I think you're very insecure, and it's showing.
I saw an election stolen away
It's
from
clearly
Team
showing.
TBD last year from Odie's antics.
From
TBD
TBD,
was in
no
it.
one saw anything from
TBD was
TBD.
in it.
I was number one for like a glorious hour,
Yeah.
apparently.
I threw all my support.
Those were
behind
joke
it.
votes.
Yeah, that was just that was the early polling.
That was all because I was
I
on
don't
the
like
team.
how people can switch their votes.
I agree. I think you should have to vote once, and that's
Well,
it.
Facebook should come up with a more secure polling system. I don't know what to say. Do you think one day we're just going to vote for president
Russians
on
are
Facebook?
flipping the Liberty
That just
draft
is gonna be
votes.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. I've explained the general concept of the Liberty Draft. It's basically like a fantasy draft, fantasy baseball, fantasy football draft. We do a snake draft. We're only going to get through a couple rounds today. We're only going to do rounds 1 and 2, and we do have a few keeper picks from last time that carried over from the last draft, as well as some supplemental picks done by our new team members in Howie and JB. So what I want to do is go one by one to each of you. You're going to tell me a few things about yourself and your team. You're going to tell me your team name, what you're drinking, and tell us a little bit about your keeper picks, if you even remember what they are.
Can I
or
ask a
were able
question
to
before
call
we
it
go
back.
down that road? So we're doing
Yeah.
2 rounds. How are we going to do that when we have, like, for example, you have Tom Woods in the first round, or
Yeah,
like,
then we don't. There's no pick
Right.
there. I
oh,
already
okay, so
have
we just
that
treat
pick
it as a
done.
regular keeper. Gotcha.
Like any other draft. I just don't get a pick in whatever spot we have associated those.
Makes
people.
sense.
It does.
Oh,
so there's
I
really
didn't
only going to
understand
be.
how that works.
Well, Howie, what do you understand?
Not much.
how what
And,
works?
there's positions, right?
was
I
that
don't
a
remember
sentence?
the positions that I'm supposed to be thinking
Positions. Okay, well, let's review. We are trying to draft a number of positions, and I believe they are. And we're gonna have 10 draft slots total, and there are. I think
we
there's
should
7
abandon
positions
this
you have to
whole
fill.
position concept, personally.
Well, too bad you're not running the draft. Move
I
along.
second Brian's
so-
motion.
I don't care. you guys are very confused. This is not run by Robert's rules. This is my concept that we run
Neither's
my
a
way.
Masonic
We can
Lodge.
discuss changes. Changes can be discussed in something called the off season when we're not already in the middle of the draft. So that would be the time to bring that sort of thing up. This is how a libertarian society will work, folks. The property owner, as I am the property owner of the Liberty Draft, gets to decide the rules. That's how that works. I'm happy to take your all input in the off season after the next draft, sometime around 2021, though. So please jot down your thoughts, and we'll return to them at that time. But anyway, we're drafting. After we draft, you don't have to do this as you go. After your whole team is drafted, you're gonna slot people into certain categories, and those categories are a presidential candidate, a Libertarian Party presidential candidate, vice presidential candidate, podcast host, mainstream media host, female mainstream media host, and a YouTuber, and I believe that's it. And then there are 4 other spots that are kind of floater spots that you can do.
Best friend.
But that is all.
Brian, the good thing is, like, all the really good libertarians, you could put in multiple spots. They're
Well,
good for a
that's
lot of-
true, but there's certain.
Well, that's
specific-
the highest draft picks are the ones that you can insert anywhere. Correct.
That's what she
There's
said.
something
you
dirty
go.
to be said there. I'm just not.
That's
gonna
what she
bother.
said. That's exactly
Libertarians inserting it anywhere.
Brian sounds like he is just setting up a million excuses for why his team is eventually going to get
I had a great team
brutalized.
last year.
That's
and
what
it
I'm hearing.
looks even greater now, but I don't want to say anything more because it'll reveal my strategy.
You had a great third place team.
Again, due to gerrymandering.
I bet you I could guess who.
I don't think you know what gerrymandering means.
Oh, I know what gerrymandering means, Rico.
How do you gerrymander an internet draft? Or internet vote?
Well, I'm talking about, if you're talking about redrawing the districts of influence.
That argument took one question to break down.
The way I'm looking at it is that you've got your spheres of influence, like with the congressional districts, and by your gerrymandering by attracting different people and redrawing the districting lines in the middle of the election.
There are no districting lines. This is just a
the
podcast
districting
that
lines
anyone
would be
can listen
who likes
to.
your team based upon its actual makeup, not based upon promises that you make.
I should point something out here, though. There is a change from how the voting has worked in the last prior votes. Before, we posted a Facebook poll, we posted a poll on the website, and anybody could do it. If you were in our public forum at the Lions of Liberty forum on Facebook, which many of you are in, you could vote. That is no longer the case. Now, voting is going to be restricted to our Patreon supporters, to members of the Lions Liberty Pride. So I think that does cut down on a lot of the chicanery that Brian seems to be concerned about. However, hiring Russian trolls is still
Mark,
perfectly legal.
could the Pride vote on Facebook or Discord in case they hate Facebook like a lot of people?
We'll talk about that.
Has anyone actually checked in on the Pride Discord?
Most people are on Facebook. Some aren't, and some are joining us as visitors on the Zoom call tonight. So that's another feature of being a member of the Lions of Liberty Pride. Of course, you can check that out at patreon.com/Lions of Liberty. For as little as $5 a month, you can see a live recording of this program, as many of you are right now. Odie, what were you saying?
Has anyone actually gone on the Pride Discord in the past year?
I went on today and then remembered that I haven't gone on in a while, and I felt awkward, and I sheepishly walked away. But no, there is actually a nice little tight-knit active group of people that are on the Discord.
We need to reinvigorate that eventually.
We do. So yeah, we will discuss, maybe we can also do a poll on Patreon. I know that's a thing we can do. So we'll discuss options. But point being, the polling will be restricted to our paid members here. This is not going to be for the public. So there's much less grand scale campaigning that will go on.
That's probably going to help. That'll probably fix things.
Is that satisfactory?
Only
Until I
wealthy
start buying people off by offering them Pride memberships at $1 each. Just to
I like it,
While we're
Mark.
at
It's
it,
like originally in America, only the wealthy property owners can vote.
Exactly.
How much do we have to pay off Mark's dad to turn his back
Rico,
on?
your microphone. Put it by your
Well, my
fucking
dad's not even on
face.
Facebook, but I should get him.
God! People whining all the time.
There's one thing Rico hates: is microphones near his face and proper audio.
That's two
That's
things.
why he makes a great podcast. Guest. But speaking of Rico, thanks to the luck of our friends, luck of the draw by our friends at random.org, Rico actually has the first pick in the draft. And that actually means that he also has the last pick in the draft, because this is a snake draft and we're just doing 2 rounds today. So it's going to begin and end with a team. Have you named your team yet, or is your team name
We're still in the marketing and research and development portion of the team name.
Because I'm just saying a little bit of good branding might just push you in a different
All right.
direction.
Well, maybe I'll actually think about it sometime in the next month or. Well, I have till 2020 apparently, so no rush. God knows what can come up between now and then that would make for a great team
You should
name.
name it like
All sorts
Libertexia
of
or
things.
something like that, like a drug that cures all of your statist woes that you take once a day to make sure that you
Well,
have libertarian
maybe that
values.
drug will be invented before then. Who knows?
All right, TBD, Mr. Rico. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe there are some new listeners. What's a 10-second story of Rico? And then tell us what you're drinking and tell us a little bit about your keepers.
I fell off a balcony and I
true.
am
I
still
was there.
suffering the after effects. I was actually down in the basement trying to stretch out the
Decades later.
kinks in my back.
Is that how you became a libertarian? You fell off the balcony and then...
Bam.
Yes, that's my libertarian origin story.
That's his libertarian.
Well,
origin
as luck
story.
would have it, I did go have a knocked on Howie's door after that. So, Dr. Feelgood.
You can hear this
I'm a good
full
fake
story.
doctor, yes.
Libertarian
You can
medicine.
hear this full story on our Porkfest podcast.
Unlicensed doctor.
Oh, really?
might have been
Did I
on
tell that
Degenerate.
story?
It's
Also
It's
on
on
Degenerate
Degenerate
Gamblers
Gamblers,
as
yeah.
well, a couple times.
Well, I guess.
Actually, you know what? I think I edited part of it out. So, but the Pride got the full version. So if you're in the Pride, just another reason. Shaboom, shebang, shebang.
All right. So I'm in the Pride. I'm a Scorpio,
Yes,
and I'm drinking vodka and soda
Healthy.
with a little bit of frozen fruit in there for a little flavor.
You're such
good.
a
Sophisticated.
Miranda.
That sounds delicious.
Or is that what she drinks?
I don't know. Just seems like a Sex in the City drink.
Is that what it's called? Sex in the City or Sex and the City?
Sex and the City.
All right.
That's
a Mandela
That's what I
effect.
remember
There's
in my
disputes there.
reality.
It's a stupid name. Should have been
No,
Sex
wait.
in the City.
Or was it the Sex and the City? Shit, I don't know.
It should have been called
Now,
Sex
Mr.
Under
Rico
the City,
here.
and it's just a bunch of hot chicks banging subway hobos.
You can hear more about this on our Mandela Effect Conspiracy Corner.
I'd
You
watch
talked
that,
about
Brian.
that specific aspect? Hot chicks banging chuds? The underdwellers?
No, that's
We didn't get
that's
that.
Brian's stand-up routine. There, you got to look up on YouTube.
It's all chud jokes nonstop. 25.
Oh,
if
Brian,
you like horribly deformed underdwellers, you're gonna love Brian who claims to stand up.
Brian, I just realized you have one of the best draft picks because you are one of two teams who does not have any first or second round keeper picks, which means you're one of the few people that even has two picks, and yours are almost back to back with only one in between from me.
That was
Do
called
me and-
strategy.
Wow.
Quit your
Do
bitching.
me and JB have keeper picks or no?
Yeah.
My God, Howie, how many documents?
Never
have I
mind.
sent
Whatever.
back
Just
and
tell me
forth
when to
about
pick.
this?
I'm good.
No, you're gonna. Did you even listen? How many? Wait, let's play a game real quick before we move on. How many beers do we all think Howie had before the show? I'm gonna guess 3. Anybody else? And I think
I'll say 2.
I'll say 2.
I'll say
Only
5.
I'm gonna
5.
go 3.
3. Okay, Howie, can you please reveal the answer of how many beers?
Well,
you
it's
had
not an easy answer. So I bought some Guinness to drink during the show, but also right when I got home, I wanted something, so I got this. It was like a 19.2 ounce sour or something from
Holy shnikes.
Dogfish Head. So I was just going to drink that. I drank that. My wife works at home now, though, and she came down from the office, and she wanted to open this bottle of Lebanese wine she got. So I had
This is not an easy answer.
2 glasses of that. I don't know how many beers that counts for. And then since we started the podcast, I'm on my second Guinness.
That sounds like 5 to
Okay.
me.
Howie is not going to make
I actually do think Odie might be closest with all the percentages.
coherent sentence by the second hour.
It's from
Say it
like
without
6,
knowing-
though. It's from like 6 p.m. though, so it's
Well, what
you know,
alcohol
it's not-
percentage is Lebanese wine? Is it stronger than regular wine? Like Chinese wine is very
I don't know. It's delicious. That's all I know. And the bottles
Let's
aren't
consult
like
JB,
Lebanese.
the foreign liquor expert.
I'm sure it's just regular wine.
Well, thanks for that letdown.
Ranges from 10 to 14%, probably. Something.
I like that
Was
JB
it white or
always
red?
bringing the voice of reason in a monotone that it's utterly disdainful. That's just regular wine. Okay.
All right, moving on. How many times in a show like this do you think I have to say, all right, moving on?
Too many.
Probably a dozen. Too many. Too many is right. Rico, speaking of teams that have 2 draft picks right now because they did not have any first or second round keepers, Rico, you're one of those teams. You do have keeper picks. There are 2 of them. Would you like to explain who those keeper picks are? Have you been able to locate that information?
I
in the
did.
document
Thanks for
provided?
sending the email this morning.
Sure thing. That's why I'm here.
Yes. I kept Ben Swan in the 5th round, mostly just because I was happy he was still alive. There was touch and go there for a while. We didn't know if he had been Clintoned or
There were a couple years of
it was in
concern.
hiding.
Sprang back onto the scene right before the Liberty draft, and we were all like, hey! And now he's since completely disappeared again.
Remember, we all saw him at
He has a
Pork Fest, though.
podcast. He puts
I
out
don't know.
videos a couple times a week. Just because you don't
I'm
follow
on
him
his
doesn't
email
mean that he
list, and I
disappeared.
I used to get a million emails, and now I get 0 emails from him.
It's going to your spam folder. Yeah, he does tons
No,
of
When we
that
saw him
was-
at Pork Fest, that's the first time I knew he was still alive.
He wasn't
value
at
pick
Pork
from
Fest,
Rico.
was he?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
And he had gray hair. Remember that?
Was he the 12-year-old kid I was playing beer pong with? Because that's the only person I remember.
I don't think
that was
that
actually
kid
Ben
was
Swan.
12, dude.
Oh, worse, better? I don't know. How do you even rate
At
that?
least I think you had to tell me. I didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. I couldn't
You
tell.
said rate with a T, right?
I guess just so people don't get the wrong idea, the child was not actually drinking beer, just playing beer.
I think we
pong.
should clarify
the child
this.
was
Important to
before,
clarify.
Rico was
Well,
drinking
what were we
beer.
kidding? New Hampshire police aren't investigating this.
No, he just
New Hampshire
threw the
police.
ball. We drank the beers.
Yes.
All right, and you have a very, very interesting second keeper pick. Would you like to explain this to the audience?
Well, I kept this guy, Howie Snowden. He's a guy, he's full of character and charm. Likes to drink and pass out in commercial vehicles. Slur his words after 4 beers.
I'm good at spreading news like Ben Swan too.
But that's exactly what he could do. This was a strategic pick. One, I foresaw Howie becoming a Liberty podcast whore and making all the rounds. So he's already paying off in that respect.
Howie has been on about 30 different podcasts.
Yes. And I'm going to make the argument that whoever Howie picks is actually a part of my team because they're under his.
I'm going to make the argument that that's completely untrue, but go on.
Wow. You can argue whatever you want.
We all can. That's
I thought it would be interesting if Rico goes on to choose all the other Lions of Liberty for his team.
I know. Well, and yeah, we need to clarify that this is unique in that we are allowed to draft ourselves and other Lions of Liberty this time around. The first time we said no.
I guess
the first
you
time
can.
we said
No,
neither of the Pauls, Ron, or Rand are draftable, and neither are any of us. But this year it's all.
I mean, if Rico picks all of us,
now
I might have
everyone
to
is
vote
on
for
board.
Rico's team.
But not if it's just you.
The only rules about drafting we have now is that you can't draft two people with one pick, as Rico did cleverly, not just once, but impressively so twice last time, drafting both Trey Parker and Matt Stone and the coach.
I need a
They're
rules
conjoined
clarification. Is
Okay,
Tom
go
Woods
on.
and Dark Tom Woods one or two people?
2 people.
There are no people. No, Tom Woods is one person, and Dark Tom Woods is a meme that came out of a joke of my guest appearance on the Friends Against Government, the Fadcast, and that never aired because the show was deleted somehow, and we blamed the entity known as Dark Tom
Oh,
Woods.
so
and
Dark
that
Tom
is
Woods
where
deleted it?
That's
So
the
that's a
theory.
person?
Nope. I mean, Howie.
It's an
A
internet.
meme
Just kidding,
can't
just
delete a podcast.
He's got you in a logic
It's a meme
loop,
that
Mark.
we
He's
have.
got you. He built
It's
a
a
wall.
meme that
The
we
walls are
spirited.
closing in on you, Mark.
We spirited it into existence by believing in it too much. That's what happened.
I think I saw a Supernatural episode
Believe
about
in it
this.
too much.
If you believe it too much, it comes true and it becomes like a ghost that haunts you.
It's a
Anyway, so
secret,
that-
right? You just believe
That
something
is Team
and it happens?
TBD. Yes, that is actually the secret. This entire draft is based on that, basically. I believed I could get this podcast together, and it kind of happens eventually after a lot of hours of bullshit and nonsense and tomfoolery. But you have Swan in the fifth, and then Howie, I believe we called him a 8th round draft.
Yes, sir.
So, congratulations. That's all happening.
Cheers
All
to
right,
me.
moving on. Team number 2.
Oh, he doesn't get to
the
pick now?
second
I
pick.
feel like you should just, if you're going to do this, you should have the person picking first do
Yeah.
that
All right.
logically.
I'm willing to be flexible on the format. So if you'd like to make your first, the thing is, without everybody knowing who's kept already.
Yeah, I think you should do the keepers first.
Yeah,
Set
I
the,
agree. I'm gonna
we
stick to
set
my
the
format.
stage.
Because
there are so many
Us in the
rebellions that
entertainment
keep-
business. That's how we
Everyone
do it.
tries to rebel here so much.
Because it was
I-
driving
you're right,
me
Rico.
nuts, I rebelled and I reorganized the spreadsheet to be in order of the Howard draft.
Thank you, because I
well
was trying to do that and I kept
done.
fucking
Good
it up.
job.
Congratulations, Odie. That's a high contribution. I'm gonna give you $5 next time I see
That's actually awesome. Thank you.
you. That's a contract. Or I'll just Venmo to you for reorganizing the Google document for the Liberty Draft. Okay. Next up is me. And my name is Marc Clare. I've hosted the Lions of Liberty podcast for the last 5, almost 6 years now. And my team is Hellfire and Liberty, named largely after one of my keepers. I'll get to him in a minute. But my first keeper, this is actually a tough keeper pick. Actually, there's something else I wanted to say that we can mention as we go around. If we have any regrets of the people we let go, that we did not keep, because we only keep 2 keepers from the last draft. And I will admit on the surface here that I am a little... I like who I kept, and I'm glad I kept them, but I also do somewhat regret letting Dave Smith go, especially because he has now ended up on Team Dark Tom Woods Alliance. So, and that was a 5th round value. So Dave had some really high value there, and I am regretting losing his value just a little bit. Rico, did you have any regrets besides losing Trey and Matt and the Cook brothers?
I don't really remember the other people
Oh,
on
yeah,
my
that's right.
team.
You don't remember anything.
So I think I had the Koch brothers. Maybe I could always pick them again. Not like anyone's gonna pick. Not like anyone's gonna pick any of the people I picked. So
You can pick one at a time. You could do that again.
Pick the smart one.
what if I figure
smart
out a group of people that's a 3? Because you only said you can't do 2s. You didn't say.
I'm pretty sure I said you can't do more than
I
one.
don't know. You just said before you can't do 2. So if I get like
One of our unpaid interns, go check our audio from the first time.
if I find a
Last
New
time.
Day like libertarian tag team,
You're going to draft the New Day?
maybe.
All right. So I kept Tom Woods with my first round pick. It was tough to do to give up a first round pick, but I think Tom Woods, as we discussed earlier, the most versatile people in this Liberty draft are ones that you can slot in anywhere. He's got arguably the top libertarian podcast. He just joined the Libertarian Party, so he's already getting in the political mix a little bit, duking it up with the chairman on Twitter. And he could potentially be a mainstream show host. Could see that easily. And obviously could easily be inserted as the presidential candidate or vice presidential candidate. So Tom Woods, number 1. So that's why I don't have a first round pick. And then I also kept with my third round pick. Who the hell's alarm is going
That's
on?
my alarm to take my
God.
Lipitor.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, we'll talk
Sorry
about Howie's
that.
medical issues later
Is that your
on.
dick pills?
My
No,
third
my
round
heart
pick.
don't explode pill.
Should you be on that at age 40?
Should you be having 50 beers per podcast?
Well, when you don't want your heart to explode at any age. I'm surprised we're not all on it.
Well, yes.
I'm
that's not my
genetically
point.
predisposed.
Okay.
That and rampant
Anywho,
alcoholism.
with my wait, what's the phrase I use? Okay, moving on. My third round pick that I kept was the current mayor, which he was not in any elected office or even running the very first time I traded for him from Odie's team back in the day, is the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, Glenn Kane Jacobs. And he's a very tall man. He's a professional wrestler, and he is a great libertarian who is currently in elected office. So I could not let Kane go. So those are my two stalwarts I'm coming in here with, Tom Woods, Glenn Jacobs. I now move things along to the third pick. That is, unfortunately and sadly and possibly
Reigning
completely
champion.
unjustly, the winner of the last Liberty draft. Make Liberty great again, Odie.
I'll tell you what.
Gerrymandering.
I'm glad that JB and Howie have joined us because I have some competition now. If we just look at this draft board, if you look at people who I originally drafted on other people's
You beat
teams,
me by like 2 votes. What do you mean some competition now? Give me a break.
Hey, did I interrupt you? I don't think I did. Maybe I did. I can't remember.
No, but maybe you should have.
We look at
Lost your chance
We
now.
look at Glenn Jacobs on Marc's team. Drafted him originally. We look at Judge Knapp on Brian's team. Drafted him
Hey,
originally.
you traded him for Scott Horton. That's a good trade, although now Scott Horton, of course, is
And
gone.
we look at Dark Tom Woods, Howie's team, Scott Horton, who I had Scott Horton on my team also.
That's because I
which brings
traded
me
you
to-
him for Judge Knapp, you fucking motherfucker. You can't take credit for both of them.
I can take credit for all of it.
I drafted Scott Horton and traded you to him for Judge Knapp.
Odie's
Yeah.
as
What-
persuasive as Trump. It's awesome.
The point of all of this is
He is our
I
Trump.
should have kept Scott Horton. That's my biggest regret. Nothing against Bob Murphy. I think the value of Bob Murphy, I haven't been like keeping him in the 9th round, is really, really good. But God damn it, I wish I kept Scott Horton. I regret that, but I will make up for it. And you know what? Maybe I'll get Scott Horton back. Maybe I will. We'll see.
That's true. We do have a lot of trades coming down the pipeline in a few episodes.
Spoiler, you won't.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Spoiler alert. All right. Any regrets in the? Oh, you already said that. You regretted.
I did.
Losing Horton. Okay, so cool. And you got Bob Murphy in the 9th,
And Larry Sharpe. Larry Sharpe's my first round pick.
Murphy's
so.
versatile because he can also do
Yeah,
karaoke.
and he's got his own podcast now. That's a very solid pick in the 9th round. Gotta say.
It's not too
Larry
shabby.
Sharpe could probably do karaoke too. I don't never heard him do it, but I'm sure he could.
I bet he could too.
I feel like he could.
I don't see Larry Sharpe being very good at karaoke. I just don't see it.
Well, somebody
Well, sounds like a challenge.
tweet Larry Sharpe and let's get some karaoke
He
going.
doesn't
here.
have the voice for it, man. He's got like that high nasally voice. Unless he can sing Rush.
Can sing some Billy
gauntlet is
Joel. I
being
bet he can sing
thrown
some
down.
Billy Joel with that New York accent.
Maybe.
I'm thinking he's
I can
more
hear it.
Prince, man.
Definitely some Joel. My new goal is to sing a duet with Larry Sharpe.
I thought you were gonna say Billy Joel. Okay.
Well, that's
that
my other
statist?
goal. Realistic
Realistic
them in
goals.
order of
Realistic
importance.
goals is what we have here.
Yeah. All right, my favorite phrase. Moving on, we have our 4th pick. The man who is not our Dark Tom Woods, but he is our resident former progressive. So you thought I was going to say something else. Our resident former progressive. He is the man known simply as JB Lubin.
Yes, that's me.
I like how I'm doing introductions like 40 minutes into the show. How long have we been on now?
Yeah, it's stretching. So I'll try to speed things up. I'm drinking a Yards Brawler. I'm super hungover. I'm playing the Brian McWilliams role.
How
for
are you
this
still
podcast.
hungover on a
Nice.
Wednesday? What'd you
Yeah,
do?
it's
I'm so
currently
proud of you,
9:30
JB,
Eastern,
on a
and I'm
Wednesday.
still ridiculously hungover. Drinking a little too much
I'm
on a school
clapping
night.
for that,
you know,
JB.
it
That's
happens. It was a
impressive.
going away party, so what could I do?
Yeah, nice.
So
There's
What's a
literally
yard
nothing
brew?
you can do.
What is that?
Yards, Yards Champion Ale. You know
Oh.
Yards Brewery, right?
No idea.
Yeah, it's like a local Philly brewery.
That must be like some IPA brewery that I haven't been back in Philly in like 15 years, man. My parents live in Florida
Really?
now,
Oh,
so
15 years?
if I come back, it's to visit. Yeah, Well, no less than maybe 10 years, but my parents are in Florida.
Speaking of IPAs, I totally forgot to mention what I was drinking, which is much to try to counter the smears of Dan Smots. I am drinking an IPA. It is a Stone. I don't even understand the name of it. It just says Fear Movie Lions on it.
Hey,
Does it suck?
It's 8.5% double IPA, and it's not that bad. I don't mind.
So it's like
I don't hate it. I don't love it.
So instead of
but I don't
taking
mind
2 dicks in the ass, it's like just taking 1 dick in the ass.
What do you mean? No,
Like that, I would imagine that would be
Wait,
much
what?
better than 2, though, right?
Also, smears of Dan Smots.
Imagine.
They're like 2
Smears
dicks,
of
but
Dan
one's a
Smots
half
be a great
dick.
band
One's a shorter
Imagine
dick.
it. Imagine all the people. Okay.
Goddamn IPA dog shit. Awful.
We really do a ridiculous
I
cross
had a double IPA to start off. Southern Tier.
You can hear a heartwarming and heartbreaking and inspirational tale of defeat and triumph on Felony Friday, and then you can tune into this nonsense.
Double IPA just sounds like a marketing scheme.
Only in
to me.
America.
The Champion Ale is not an IPA. It's like an ESB or something like that.
Well, the double
It can read
IPA, the
minds.
double stands for double the alcohol.
Have you guys been drinking any sours? I really like sour
Dude,
beers.
I'm
now.
all about
I do
sours.
too.
If we had a draft, I would take sours second pick right after Yingling Lager.
I take
I would rather-
sours, ports, and what's the other one I like? Stouts.
You should combine the sour and the port and call it sports and get Huey Lewis to fucking endorse it.
That's a good idea.
Can we just pause to appreciate that JB's
your best
video
idea.
is, JB just moved. It's mostly JB in the corner of his video screen, huddled next to his microphone. Now he's recentered, though, so never mind.
Like I told you, I'm very fidgety right now. I'm on a
He also-
razor's edge.
Oh, I think I know. Putting those 2 things together, I think I know exactly what you're doing. Those last 2
All right,
statements.
JB. Well, you already told me what you were drinking, so why don't you tell us who you kept? Or it weren't keepers for you. That you were actually part of a supplemental draft.
Yeah,
and
expansion draft
your
picks.
first pick is a pretty exciting one.
Yeah, so I picked first, didn't I? So I obviously
You did.
took Ron Paul, which, you know.
Ron Paul, who we made available as a present to the 2 of you for not being invited to the first draft. We gave you the option of drafting Ron Paul, and JB took that option. We all agreed off air afterwards that Ron Paul would count as a first round pick because he's obviously a first round
Obviously,
pick. So-
and I had no problems with that judgment. You know, makes perfect sense. But of course, I took him. You know, like the founder of like 21st century liberty in my eyes. Certainly,
Yep.
at least most of the people that I listen to can trace it back to him at some point or another. So
well, literally everyone on this podcast.
he converted me, and I converted Mark, and Mark converted y'all. So
Really, Ron Paul's the real
Yeah,
godfather of
yeah,
this
Ron
podcast.
Paul is the inspiration. Well, and the other Paul is still out there.
that
Or
is
he's the
true.
god of the podcast.
That's
Ooh,
true.
I like that. He wouldn't though.
He wouldn't like that, no.
All right, and JB, you had one other.
And then I
keeper.
took
This is
Joe
a
Rogan,
controversial
counted
pick in
as
the last
a
one.
9th pick. This is more of a value pick. He's not exactly a libertarian, but he has a libertarian enough leanings for me that I could kind of.
I actually heard him call himself a socialist on most things the other day.
Yeah.
But go on.
But
Go
he has
on.
enough that I,
don't think he
with a
knows
little
what
bit of
socialism
pushing. I'm back.
He's also called himself a libertarian though too. So whatever.
I know. He's
Sorry,
he's
go
very
ahead,
inconsistent.
JB.
Is the point.
So what I'm basically banking on is him becoming more libertarian this year as the year goes by, and giving me a net positive on that end. And with his huge fan base, I think that's a great person to put in at least a podcast host slot. And at 9th for a 9th pick, I think why the hell not take a?
It's a solid pick. I'm actually curious to hear what he's going to say now that the Mueller report came out. And
I thought you were going to say now that JB has drafted him to Bastiat's
no, but now
pitches.
like all this big liberal thing is bullshit. Will he become more libertarian? I kind of think probably so.
I'm counting on it.
I think these things are completely unrelated, but anyway, that's a different avenue to go down. Trump not being a Russian colluder shouldn't influence it. I guess it could influence how people can view the media, which could lead people to re-examine all their views, and which could lead you to libertarianism. So I guess in that sense, possibly.
It's not going to happen.
I just made my own case against
got
my own
it.
argument. Moving on to our next complainer of the year. Wake Up
Part of my
Punchy,
brand,
Brian
man.
McWilliams.
Complaining is part of my brand.
That
Wake Up
is
Punchy, formerly the Trumpelstiltskins. Although Wake Up Punchy, of course, is still a Trump quote. One of his funniest quotes and one of his funniest statements ever. Talking, of course, when Robert De Niro was bitching about him at, what was it, the Oscars or the Golden Globes, bitching about Trump and saying how they had to take him down. And Donald Trump tweeted out, "Wake up, Punchy!" Fucking hilarious. Troll of the year. Anyway, yeah, I am
Fanboy.
I am here. That's it. Get used to it.
Who did you keep,
All right, moving
Brian?
on.
Who did you keep?
I
Why
kept
did you keep him?
Kennedy in round.
Look at how he tried to
I
keep
know.
things in order.
I forgot what I was supposed to
Proud
do.
of you.
I kept Kennedy, of course, a former MTV VJ, now host of
John F. Kennedy,
Yes.
congratulations.
I like to keep him around in case.
Thank you very much for drafting me to your Liberty
In
team.
case zombies exist. I fucked Marilyn Monroe, and I'm gonna fuck her corpse again on the steps of the
Well,
White House.
Well, we did talk about when we get to Halloween time doing a ghost edition of the Liberty Draft.
Yeah,
so
I thought we
keep
said
in
we were
mind.
going to add on. Well, by the time we finish this draft, it probably will be Halloween. I thought we were going to
So
add on.
for
We
that.
jokingly talked about it at the end. Like I said, around Halloween, we'll decide if we can add a
All
ghost.
right, I'm down for it. But yeah, I kept Kennedy because she still has arguably the most libertarian show on television. And
I don't think it's even arguable at this point.
I agree. So she's got the most libertarian show on TV. Still on Fox Business. Also, she is showcased on all of their election coverage. I presume she will still be on TV during the next round in 2020, and she will be, on the main Fox channels. And yeah, man, she's great. Love me some Kennedy. Also, I kept Judge Knapp, value pick in round 6. Judge Napolitano still out there, still fighting the good fight from the libertarian perspective. So how can you pass up that sweet, sweet gold?
Brian's
And
team
the
Fox.
value pick was actually by me.
It was,
Brian's
but I
team-
traded
Brian's
you
team
to
Fox
Scott
News.
Horton. But Odie, I don't know. I still seem to have my pick. What happened to your pick? Oh, it was Scott Horton, and now he's on
I just
Dark
had
Tom Woods.
too many dominant players. It's hard to.
Well,
Brian should just call his team Fox News, though. Let's be honest.
You had Stossel originally, didn't you?
I did have
Brian?
Stossel too, but
Yeah.
he left Fox News to go to Reason, which actually was
Team
a step
Fox
down,
News.
in my opinion.
Hey, Brian, just so you know, at work, they have the news on TV all the day, and Kennedy's been on, like, the daytime Fox shows a lot.
Nice.
So
Moving
that's
on
a
up.
pretty good value. She's a good pick.
Yeah, man.
Especially since we have to have some women on our team. Like, you stole one of the probably the best one.
Have
Well,
to
that
have
was
some
my
women.
strategy. The first time I drafted her, I was like, I'm going to get the best woman I can get right off the bat, and so that's why I took her.
I wonder, if we didn't have to have women's slots, would any of us have women?
So
Kennedy
my
would
plan,
yeah,
since
for sure.
I would.
since this is going to be
Borowski,
a
I
long
would.
process,
I would, but that's because I'm saying
I would.
I'm going to solicit applications from females who want to be on my team at Porkfest. So
From all three of them. All right. Come on to Porkfest, everybody. That's a joke. There are actually a large contingent of females at Porkfest. All right, Howie, with the recently renamed Dark Tom Woods Alliance. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your drinks, your keepers.
I'm Howie.
You
I'm
already told us about
a
your drinks.
alcohol libertarian.
Oh, I forgot. Wait.
Um,
I'm drinking whiskey, and I'm
What?
drinking Chardonnay.
Oh, yeah. Well, God,
Hopefully not
we're gonna have a
together.
great
oh
day
my
tomorrow.
God, I can't wait for these emails tomorrow.
Oh,
Small
my
amounts.
head.
Well, not small amounts.
So,
small
yeah,
quantities for me.
I'm new to the draft. I got your scraps, but by your scraps, I think I got some gold. I got Scott Horton, and I got
did.
Dave Smith. My strategy is
we need to give them all the information here. So Scott Horton represents a second-round pick, which means you only get one pick today. And Dave Smith was I believe,
High
drum roll,
value
please,
in
a
the fifth round.
Yeah, God.
Fifth
How did
rounder,
Dave
which
Smith
is where
slip
which is
so
where
much?
I drafted him, which is if we're pointing out people's value, but also pointing out my perhaps foolishness.
So my strategy
He's
for
blown
my
up though since we dusted the draft though. A lot of people have changed in their roles, so he's blown up more.
yeah, it's called foresight.
He's also gone full
Christ.
Christian conservative, so that's why he's blown up.
my strategy for my team is there's not going to be some libertarian takeover of government like in 2020. So I want the people that can communicate the ideas the best and have the right ideals and principles and are, the best on the most important issues. And so that's what's driving my picks. And that's why I've got Scott Horton and Dave Smith right now.
I think Howie's got a pretty interesting couple of firebrands here, starting things off. So a couple of guys that get fired up. Nothing bad.
I didn't
there.
realize I only get one pick today. Gee.
Yeah, well, maybe you should pay even the smallest amount of attention to how this
Let's
works.
get started with this picking. Come
Figure it
on.
out.
He's done well so far,
All right.
paying no attention.
Are you sure you guys don't want to tell any random stories again first, or just bullshit?
The
some
random
more?
story. You can't force
you
random
sure?
stories,
Are you
Mark.
sure?
You just gotta fall into
I'm
them.
joking. It's my way of saying finally you guys want to shut up and do the draft. Moving on. Number 1 pick. Drum roll please.
Drum roll, please.
TBD Rico.
Kim Jong-un
on.
has become a guest on the podcast.
I blame these double IPAs. God damn it.
Who's your first round
was
pick,
not
Kim
racism.
Jong?
It was just Marc
Are you
Claire
picking your dad?
being
He's
drunk.
dead. We're not doing the ghost episode yet.
My
With
dad's
Kim,
not-
first
Okay.
pick, Kim Jong-un takes a Kim Jong-ear.
Is that Kim Jong or is that Howie? I can't tell.
Hello, it's Howie Kim Jong-il.
Yeah, actually, when I lived in
Whiskey and Chardonnay.
when I lived in Korea, I was
Whiskey
actually
shot an ass, so number 1 drink in North Korea. Only thing we can import. New York sanctions, don't touch whiskey, don't touch Chardonnay.
when I lived in Korea. I lived
Delicious
in my-
mixed together. Oh, you shoot it, you do it off body shots off women who all have same haircut. It looks like little boy haircut, but it's the safest thing for community.
Brian, that should be your stand-up.
So
That's
Brian
it.
is not
Your
pandering to the
stand-up should
Asian
just be
community
that.
for his vote at all.
North Koreans don't even have internet. What am I going to pander to them? They're not joining the pride.
When I lived in Korea for 3.5 years, I lived with my friend James and his Korean girlfriend. And I remember one morning waking up, I was trying to tell him I saw like something in the news. I'm like, James, you see the headline? Like totally by accident, just because I've lived there for so long. And he's like, it's his girlfriend. He's like, honey, did you hear Howie? He's turning Korean. The headlines.
All right. So, Rico, you do finally, after all these months and months of waiting, you get to make an actual draft pick.
Well, I was surprised this guy wasn't a keeper, but then I couldn't remember if he was drafted, so that tempered my surprise, perhaps. But this is a blockbuster coming off the latest Lions of Liberty
I fucking knew it.
podcast.
Fuck you, Rico. He was a keeper. And of course, the piece of shit comes out. He was my fucking pick, and it was a genius pick. And the fucker goes on Lions of Liberty, and now he's talking about being fucking level T candidate. Fuck this shit. Fucking bullshit.
Oh, is it your pick or is it mine? I don't know.
Damn it. I'm so fucking mad about it, and I knew you were going to fucking
Number
pick.
1. Well, maybe you should have got the number 1 pick on the random number generator,
Goddamn bullshit.
but I did. So I'm taking Justin Amash.
Yeah. A lot changes in
I was thinking about taking
Justin.
Justin Amash and Thomas Massey because they're always mentioned together, but apparently that's frowned upon.
It's funny. I thought whoever gets the first pick is going to pick Justin Mosh, but then I saw the first pick was Rico. I'm like, oh, maybe not. Who knows what the fuck he'll pick?
That's what I was
I guess
hoping,
it's
man.
Justin Amash.
Somebody tarred it up. I was trying to fucking sprinkle Rand Paul in earlier and be like, he's still out there. So Rico would be like, oh, and see the pretty birdie and take it. Fucking.
Now Brian's pick, Rand Paul.
Rand Paul, done.
Well,
Really?
Brian actually, interestingly enough, Brian does have the next
And I
actual
take
pick
Rand
because
Paul.
all right.
Because I
look at that.
feel like
Brian,
Rand and Amash are going to actually make. I swear to God, I predicted it in my Electric Liberty Land, and it's fucking looking like it's going to come true. Amash is going to go LP. Rand's going to be his VP, and it's going to be fucking money.
That's not
Rand's going to be
happen.
Trump's
That's-
VP.
Well, too bad they're on different Liberty teams now, so they can never be together again.
God, Rico, I'm going to knife you in the goddamn neck.
Just for the people who don't have the visual Liberty document, the Google document at home, we should start a something similar to Google Docs called Liberty Docs, where you can only write Liberty-related documents in them. But for those that don't see the visual at home, which is all of you, just to recap what happened there, I am the second pick, but I kept Tom Woods in my first round pick. Then we have Odie with a third pick with Make Liberty Great Again. He has Larry Sharpe there. And then we have JB with Bastiat's Bitches with Ron Paul. So we had 3 keepers in a row. So that we're actually at the 5th pick now. Brian took Rand Paul. So we are now actually on the 6th and final pick of the first round. That's why we were able to bullshit for so long, because the first round's a quickie. We have the Dark Tom Woods Alliance. Howie, what is your pick?
Oh, wow. I didn't think this happened so quick. I wish we all got to pick 2 people today, though. Could we just go longer? I don't know.
No.
Anyway.
We're already 50
we
minutes
have-
into this podcast.
We've already gone longer.
Anyways, my pick is John McAfee.
John McAfee.
McAfee
Wow.
in the first round.
He's
wow. Look at that.
running his campaign in exile down in the Bahamas. He's putting out a lot of content.
Fucking whales and running presidential campaigns.
He is, I might make him my presidential dude to get the publicity, but Scott Horton's got my VP to, like, explain the shit right to people. But yep, that's my pick, John McAfee.
I'll tell you what, I would
All right,
vote for that ticket. I love it.
McAfee Horton? Hell yeah. Who wouldn't?
It would be hard to say that they wouldn't be fun to watch in debates. I mean, those would be probably two of the more fun people to watch, or Dave Smith in any debate. So you're building an interesting team.
Very
Howie. There's no doubt about that. Very, very interesting. So now the draft snakes around. Howie is the 6th pick. You now have the 1st pick in the 2nd round, but that is already Scott Horton. So we'll now move back to the angriest man in libertarian show business. Wake up, Punchy Brian. What is your 2nd round pick?
Crazy that it's already back around to me again.
I know.
I am going to go with, this is one you never see it coming. And maybe it's a mistake to draft him this early, but I
hope so.
God. He's really picked up a lot of steam, man. I'll go with fucking Mance Rayder.
Mance Rayder.
Mance?
The character
pick,
from Game of
2nd round?
Thrones, or do you mean
The
Pete
artist
Raymond,
formerly
host
known
of
as
the-
Mance Rayder, off the board.
Pete Raymond Mance Rayder.
Pete Mance. I just call
Good
him
old
Pete
Pete
Mance.
Mance.
2nd rounder. Wow, congratulations from out of nowhere.
It is really, because the guy, he's really picked up steam. He's fucking going on Dave Smith's show.
I thought you would draft me even before.
You know, I don't want to give Mance a big fucking head because he doesn't deserve it, but I'll give him because he's in people's minds. His memes are out there. He tweets all the goddamn time. Now, someone smart though, draft his wife, and that way you get your chick spot filled.
Your chick.
Oh, the chick spot.
You know, she's great, but her podcast, she doesn't have like any opening music or like whatever. Like the lack of music bugs me.
Which is weird because women love foreplay.
Well, Jen, listen. So take that criticism to heart. Howie wants
Get some opening music, and I might pick you.
Maybe you should create the
Howie, maybe you should start a podcast.
become the change you want to
By
see.
the way,
in
I'm
the
just saying, I have a pick that's gonna blow your fucking minds. But I gotta hold him till late because nobody thinks of him. It's gonna be great.
world. We got to wait for 6
You gotta
months.
wait
For that.
6 months.
At the end of this today, some
Like
people
to
have,
abort a baby.
at the
you're,
end of this today,
progressive.
some people have more picks than others. Like, shouldn't we all have the same amount of people at the end of this?
We will.
We
at the
are
end
all
of
going to the same match.
Howie.
Howie, trying to explain how fantasy drafts work to Howie is an impossible task. Just play along. I promise it's all going to add up.
But we all came into this with the same amount, and some of us are coming out with more.
Exactly.
So Howie, look at it this way.
No, because the draft isn't
Here,
over
I'll-
today. At the end
all
of it,
right,
it's
all
all
right,
Explain this
all
in
right.
Howie terms. Let me explain this in Howie terms. So Howie, if we all have a case of Guinness, right? But
Yeah.
you decide
I know what that's
that
like.
You want to drink a couple of Guinnesses the night before we're all going to hang out from your case. The next
Right.
day, you have 2 less Guinnesses to drink that day. But at the end of the day, we all still drink 12 Guinnesses or whatever, how many of our fucking pints of
But
Guinness
when
are.
we came here today, we all had only drank 2 from our cases of Guinnesses.
Not all of us. Oh, yeah,
All
all
of us.
And by the
when we leave
Right.
here, I'll have not drunk as much as Brian.
But by the end
But the party is
of
continuing.
all the drinking, we will have drank the same amount.
in the
It's like
end,
there's a total of 10
in the
parties.
end-
Howie, there's a total of 10 parties, and there's a total, we're each drinking a case
I
of Guinness
get it, I
per
get
party.
it.
Some of us dipped into our case a little early, but we're still going to end up drinking a total of 10
I
cases
get it.
over
I
the
get
10
it. I just
parties.
wish I could dip in early. So
You can't.
You
Well,
did dip in early. You had 2
you did.
picks.
You have Dave Smith already.
all right, whatever.
Howie, I'm willing to offer a trade.
Right now, live.
No,
Yes.
I'm not giving up anybody I have. There are 3 people I really
Well,
wanted.
you want to complain about not having a pick? Here's a way to get a pick.
No, I don't want it.
This man's a serious
Forget it. Let's-
negotiator. I also rule we can trade draft
Mo-
picks if we
moving
want,
on.
as part of deals. As we
Oh,
go.
did I have to
More
ask?
complicated?
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
I'm not taking your trade, so save your breath.
He doesn't even need to hear an offer. Just, I'm not accepting it, whatever it is. What if he traded you Justin Amash, Ben Swan, and yourself for Dave
Nope.
Smith?
Nope.
Not doing it. I love it. All right. So, we are here with Bastiat Spicic. Bastiat Spicic? I really can't talk today. This is why I don't drink the IPAs, people.
So it's my go?
JB, it's your pick.
My go? All right. So I think I'm going to round out my media team here with Joe Rogan and just take John Stossel and have him head
Stossel.
up the media machine on Bastiat Spicic.
Slinging his game at Reason.com.
Yep. He is
formerly
still
in
very.
Fox Business, now Reason. I think that's a pretty solid pick for number 2, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
He's been
He's
doing
got
good
a
work.
solid mustache.
He certainly does. That's just bonus. That's icing. That's icing on the cake.
Has he been on the Lions of Liberty? He was once, right?
No.
John Stossel has
I thought
not
he
been
was
on,
one
but I
time.
like that you live in a world
I
where
thought
that happens.
well, you were talking to his assistant for fucking ever, weren't you?
Not assistant. Let's just talk about this.
I'm
as a
going to
show.
book
I've
him.
had some
You
content.
know what? The Legion of Liberty Doom is going to book him.
Hey,
Does Tom Selleck
All right,
is
you
Tom
go
Selleck
tweet
the
to
only
him
guy
and
with
see
a
if
better
that-
mustache?
There's got to be more.
Isn't he dead?
I've never cataloged.
I don't think so. I
on.
think
You're
you're
Selleck,
Or-
not dead. You're thinking of Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, you
What
think
about,
Burt
okay,
Reynolds.
look,
You're
if
right.
you
I
had John
confused them.
Stossel.
Alex Trebek has a good mustache.
Can we count dead people?
Selleck has a mustache.
Here we go.
doesn't he?
No. Living people. Tom Selleck, number 1 mustache. John Stossel, 2. I don't know who even comes closer.
God,
Third.
Burt Reynolds would have been up there, though.
Oh yeah,
What
but he's
about-
dead. His mustache is probably his crap right now.
All right, maybe in the bonus show we'll do top
Who's
5
the guy
mustaches.
that says
but for now-
diabetes? He has a good mustache.
Oh, Wilford Bramley or something?
Wilford Brimley is his name. And
He
he's
has a good mustache.
I might draft him in my ghost. I imagine he's a libertarian because he's seen the
possibly be
horrors of
alive.
how government. He knows how government intervention has raised the cost of diabetes drugs. So he's probably the perfect ghost libertarian to talk about healthcare issues. Moving on. All right, Odie, what's your pick?
I am going to blow some minds right here. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe you guys are
I was
expecting
planning on
this,
blowing some
but-
minds, so maybe you will first.
So,
Let's see.
I mean, I think it's important to have a team that is diverse, but my first 2 picks, they're both going to
Playing
be
the race card.
African American, because I think it's not that I have to point that out, because that doesn't make it any different. I don't judge people by the
Not that I
color
have
of
to
their
tell you I
skin.
have a black friend, but here's my 2 black friends. Right.
But I got to pick in the second round, Maj Touré.
I knew it.
He is
Maj
running
Touré,
for city
wow.
council
Knew
in
it.
Philadelphia. He's getting into politics. This guy is on the move.
Is that a fact? I've only heard that's a rumor. Right?
It's I'm actually chatting with Michael Heiss right now on Messenger.
Are you breaking
And,
news on this podcast that he has not stated in publicly yet? Is that what's happening?
I wanted to confirm that he is actively considering it, and it looks like he's moving forward with it. So Maj Touré,
Okay.
founder of Black Guns Matter, just all around great dude. Been on Felony Friday multiple times. Great advocate for freedom in the urban community, and yeah, pretty happy with that pick.
I like that pick. I had him on my list, so good job. You snaked him.
I do like that pick. All right, it was actually really interesting looking at a lot of the names on the past Liberty drafts because a lot of them I don't think are even going to be considered at this point because a lot have kind of fallen off the radar a bit. So it's really interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of new names like we have that weren't even drafted before, and this is going to be another one of them. And I actually am kind of surprised he wasn't drafted last time. Wasn't even really mentioned, and maybe he would have been off your guys' radar if I didn't draft him right now. But I think he's so potentially
Chris
important
Bangle.
to my team. Yes, exactly. Chris Bangle, welcome to but potentially Chris Bangle's on the board, and he really does want to
See
be
Michael
drafted.
Pickens.
And he is in the pride. No, my pick. What if I said Bill Weld right now? That'd be amazing. I'm almost tempted to pick Bill Weld just to draw attention to my team, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pick someone who has possible. Several different roles he could potentially fill because he's very versatile, very dynamic, and he is a serious libertarian. And his name is Mr. Drew Carey, the host of The Price is Right.
Carey.
Carey.
Get the fuck out of here. What a terrible pick.
It's so funny. I was so afraid all the people I wanted to draft, you guys would draft them, but nobody's drafted.
Terrible
Nobody's
pick.
drafted
Literally
anybody on
more
my
famous
list
than
yet.
anyone on your
Marc,
team.
are you riding the Cleveland wave? Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. and
Well, wait till you see my 4th and 5th round picks. Yeah, you'll see. Baker
Drew Carey's
Mayfield.
Drew Carey's been in the closet as a libertarian for a long time.
He's a public
he's
libertarian.
totally
who
out of the
openly speaks
closet
about
as
his
a
beliefs.
libertarian, for sure.
He's very out of the
I don't know
closet.
about that. I was disappointed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
in him.
I'm sorry. He's not as famous as Pete
I
Raymond.
was disappointed. in him. He doesn't have the impact within the libertarian
No
community.
offense, man.
I would
but
pick Pete
come on.
over Drew Carey any day of the week.
Thank you, Howie. I would and did.
Well, maybe for a hardcore anarchist, podcast, I would, but not necessarily for a mainstream whatever. I'm
Well,
going to use
Marc,
him
if
for.
you think none of us would think to take him, and it doesn't sound like we would, why did you
I don't
choose
know
him?
if any of you would.
Doesn't that mean that you
I don't think any
overdrafted?
of you would have thought to take Maj Touré.
Huh?
Wait,
That's
what-
true.
Well, I think Odie overdrafted too. He could have gotten him in a later round.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
Jamie
could have,
makes a
but
very
he's
good
really
point.
picking. I mean, I think in the next couple of weeks he's going to pick up a lot of steam. So I don't know if I could have.
I thought I might get Justin Amash late, so not late, but later than
Well,
I
we
didn't win.
should-
Well, your interview
You know
blew
what?
that
I should have
for
had
ya.
Justin Amash in the 7th fucking round where I drafted him originally, but then he went and
You
talked
could've.
about becoming libertarian presidential candidate between last time and this time.
By the way, if you paid attention, those rumors were going around long before you dropped him.
No, they were not.
Here's the thing. It only makes sense now because it sounds like the Republican Party might redistrict him out of a fucking district. And if they do that, then it makes sense for him to run, and then it would be good stock for the Liberty draft. If he's just going to stay in Congress as a Republican, it wouldn't make sense. But right now,
Oh my God, wait,
right
Howie,
now he's
give
a
me an
super
idea.
great pick. He's a super great pick because what they're going to try to do to him makes it pretty likely that he might get into the libertarian movement hardcore.
Agreed,
Is
but hold
Howie
on, wait.
the most sober one of us right now?
No, he's not. I have
don't
a great
like it.
idea, though. I have a great idea. You know, you just said great libertarian stock. We should start a sperm bank called Great Libertarian Stock.
That's
Oh,
not where
I
thought
like
you were
this.
going
I
at
like
all.
this.
And we will have
Do you think
frozen
it's
samples.
hereditary?
Oh, I think it's
It'll be-
hereditary.
We can. It could be all on the dark web. All on the
Survivors.
dark web.
Yeah.
Libertarian stock.
The
I
Dark
love
Tom
it.
Woods
It's a
web.
great idea.
With all this criticism, I'm very interested to see who you guys draft later, who are better known open libertarians than
It's
Drew
not
Carey.
that they
So we'll
necessarily have
see.
to be better known. I drafted people that were very well known last time, but they have to be good libertarians that are.
What is brought with Drew? Have you ever heard him talk about stuff?
I have,
about
but I
libertarian
feel like
stuff?
he could be for how famous he is. He could be. He could have been vastly more outspoken than he was previously. And I feel like he's a letdown.
He
compared to-
openly endorsed the Libertarian Party candidate.
Well, it's also
he
Drew Carey.
gave
Dude,
many
Drew
interviews
Carey
about
is
it.
number
What
one.
do you
No,
gotta do?
Drew Carey, by the way, is in the twilight of his career. He's happy to sit and be fat and bang showgirls coming out for Price is
Perfect
Right.
timing to get involved in politics.
He's not going to get involved in shit. He's going to
Hey-
go and retire and eat fucking marshmallows.
Hey, last draft, did anybody
At
pick
Porkfest.
Vince Vaughn last draft?
Yeah.
Rico did, didn't he?
Yeah, I did. He was my
Oh,
presidential
that's right.
candidate.
That's right.
And he's available, and maybe I'll draft him again to tag team with Drew Carey. Who fucking
Is he
I'm
out
really-
there
by the
talking
way,
about
I'm
liberty?
going to make a huge push to get him on the show. I'm really serious about it this year.
Well, it's only been 4 years. Why start now?
Well,
Will
I
you
haven't
get,
had
will you
my
get
own
Duncan
show.
Will you
and
get
been
Duncan
this
Trussell
famous
on your
before.
show? You're a comedian. You should do that.
Yeah, I like Duncan Trussell. Honestly, what happens, man, is I want to get a lot of people on the show, but it's hard because there's so much fucking with the news cycle right now, man. It's hard to book shit because then I get so far fucking behind talking about everything. Honestly, is why I don't.
That's
If-
true. That's true.
The
That's
problem is he spends so much time working on PR for everyone else. He can't work
if
on
you get
PR
a
for
if you get a
himself.
show with Duncan, you could talk about like psychedelics, and that's evergreen. You could hold it
Well,
back if some
maybe I'll
news.
have him on an LALDL. That's the best option because we can talk about current events and his bullshit on it, but literally.
Can I be
though,
on
man-
that too? Can I be on that too?
Oh yeah, for sure. We could do it on drugs.
I'll do that.
All right. Well,
I'll do that.
good thing no one on this podcast does that stuff. We only have one more order of business before we stick around, chug a couple more beers, and just bullshit in the bonus show, which will be happening for our Pride members. Again, you can find more about the Pride at patreon.com/Lions of Liberty for as little as $5 a month. You get to hear all sorts of extra bonus content, and it is very exciting, as well as you can see live streams of this very show. But, Rico, are you ready? It's the moment of truth. You've been waiting this entire show for this second pick after your, I must say, very good first round pick. I'm impressed that you didn't go in a
Very-
wild
very
direction like I
impressed.
thought you might.
That's what the later rounds are for this time. I really couldn't. I was having some trouble thinking of another libertarian because, I'm not that smart. So I'm going to go with the guy I said I would have taken in combination with Justin Amash. Maybe he'll actually run with Amash in some way, shape, or form if Amash does run for libertarian president. So I'm going Thomas Massey.
Rico's going chalk. I'll chalk this.
Damn.
draft.
Thomas Massey's a little too Trumpy for me.
He's a little too sassy.
To me,
A little too
I like him.
so was
I like
Rand
him.
Paul.
I like him
Sassy.
better than Amash. I like him better than Amash. He's
I do
sassy.
too. I like him much better than Amash.
Well, he's for the border wall and Amash is against it, and I think the border wall is the dumbest thing ever.
To me, the
Massey's-
border wall.
by the way,
I don't
Massey's
give a
the only
shit
guy
about
in
the
this-
border wall.
Massey's
I've
the
never
only
heard you
guy-
speak out about the border wall.
It's not going to get built to begin with.
Massey's
Mark,
the
I've
only
never heard
guy
you
who's
speak out about the
fucking-
border wall before Trump started talking about the border wall.
Are you pulling that one now? I've always been
And
against walls.
I would
and yes, you have.
rather, instead of fucking bombing all these countries and invading all these countries and doing all this shit with the military, if they just want to protect our own border instead, Not that I'm even for. Not
From
that
what? From fucking Jose who wants to make me tacos
I'm not
down the
for
street?
this.
So racist.
I'm not for.
If you want to block my tacos, we're gonna have a problem.
I'm not.
Howie,
I'm not
gonna
for
vote for your
this.
team
I'm not
or
for
Rico's
this. The
team.
main reason I'm not for it is because walls keep me
I forgive
in
you.
too. I don't like
That's
that.
true. That's why I'm against
Yeah,
walls.
well, your boy Thomas Massey wants to keep
But
you in.
the
Think
whole
about
thing
that
is
when thinking about
the
Rico's
wall
team.
that's probably not going to ever get built. I don't give a shit about whatever.
Thomas Massey's the only
No, we all
guy,
know
by
the
the way, who
walls
can
they
rival Rand Paul for the worst possible hair. He has worse hair than Rand Paul, if you can imagine that.
That's why I
So
know
d-
he'll run for president, because he's the correct terribleness of hair.
Pube,
do you know
if
he's
Rand
got,
and
like-
Massey ran, they could run on Pube Head 2020.
Do you know Massey's like an MIT dude? And he's got like an off the grid place in Kentucky where he's got his own like solar power, everything, and like all the shit. You should do like a proper episode with him.
So here's an interesting question. Now that I would like to get Thomas Massey, I'm going to work on that next. Now that I got Justin Amash. So the first 2 rounds are over. And we have seen one trend I've seen. We have seen an influx of Republican politicians. We got Justin Amash, Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, all people who I'd say are very libertarian, especially compared to a lot of their Republican counterparts or congressional counterparts. But they're still, they all have elements of standard Republicanness, whatever.
Republicanese.
Also Ron Paul. So the question that I'm just tossing out there, maybe we can delve more into it in the bonus show, but since these guys are all pretty libertarian on some things and not on so much, would anybody consider thinking of any prominent Democrat politicians? Would anybody consider someone who may have very strong anti-war views, but really be not great on some other things? Maybe someone like Tulsi
No.
Gabbard.
Well, if
Never.
I'm like if we get near like the end of the draft and I haven't filled my female slots, then yeah.
Maybe you give her a show where she only talks about
so
war.
you're saying you're only picking the female to fill a slot?
Well, no,
Howie?
Tulsi is
no,
how
well,
he's
here's the
nice
thing.
to
Here's the
girl.
thing about Tulsi. It's not that she's good on war. It's her number one issue. That's the first fucking thing she talks about.
Exactly.
So, I mean, yeah, granted,
almost the only thing she talks
she's
about.
wrong on all. She has all the standard Democrat positions on the other things. Of course, I'm against, but the most important issue is her most important issue, and she's fucking pretty right on it usually.
Did you guys see her on Stephen Colbert?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
he
I
was
did.
such a fucking
Colbert,
cocksucker.
It
Colbert,
wasn't even like
When
late
did
night
Stephen
comedy.
Colbert
It was
become
like
a neocon?
interrogation.
He's
it was
such a
was
piece
so
of
bad.
shit. This is ridiculous. She's getting the Ron Paul treatment, and it's
He was throwing neocon talking points at her. It was disgusting.
he is becoming his parody. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
He is becoming. He's gone from Stephen Colbert, which is how his name is actually pronounced, to creating the character of Stephen Colbert, to remaining that name, but going back to Stephen Colbert, the comedian on the show, and then becoming the character of Stephen Colbert in real
so you
life.
guys know the
It's
original
mind-blowing.
neocons. They were liberals that like came to the Republican Party, and it's this
Correct.
big government nonsense. They just like dressed it up in the flag and pretended to be it's like this right wing patriotic thing, but it's not. It's fucking big government, big state, liberal leftist bullshit.
By the way, can I have a position that is like campaign dancer, and can I draft AOC to fill that position? But only do that one thing.
I wish
Draft whoever you want.
Answer.
dude, you could just draft AOC to like say dumb shit and make your other people look better.
You
That's
could.
true. She could be the foil.
Yeah,
Quote unquote the
that's what I was
foil.
You could do
Team
whatever
foil.
you want.
I know
That's
Marc
the
doesn't
beauty of
won't
this.
let us change the roles, but I don't like having the roles.
What
But
do you
it
mean?
doesn't matter. I'd rather it's like, oh, you have to pick a YouTube star. I'm like, well, I'm going to pick this person as my YouTube star, but really I'm going to have them focus on Twitter because that's what they're better at.
You can
Whatever.
do that.
You can
Really,
say
I don't
that.
think we need like YouTube star. It's just like influencer, and they can do whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
You know.
again, you can propose changes in the quote unquote off season because we had plenty of time to bring this
Well,
stuff
we have
up.
7
But the
months
point
between
is,
every draft,
being-
so we can propose them between.
being in a certain role doesn't prevent you from doing other stuff. You can go on Twitter and have a YouTube show or whatever. Like you can put someone in your role and then explain to everybody what other things you think they're going to do. So it's not a confining thing
Right,
at all.
right. We're all good.
Yes. Okay, cool. I'm glad we're all good. I thought you were
Let's
gonna
roll
throw
into
down
the
with me for a
pride
minute.
only part now.
Howie's got some crazy
Okay.
shit to
Howie
say.
just-
He's keeping under
Howie
the
just
vest.
declares the show over. Since Howie is declaring the show over, why don't we formally wrap the show? Gentlemen, I'm amazed after
And live
almost 5 months we
free.
could finally...
Oh, too early?
And
Not really, I
die
don't
young. Wait, what? No.
What?
Only
took
the
your
good. That's
Lipitor.
what Larry Sharpe's going to be singing at a karaoke. Only the good die.
Larry Sharpe can't sing that shit. Too
That's
high
the
of a
worst
voice.
Larry Sharpe impersonation.
I bet he can. I want to bet with Brian, and then we actually have to someday do karaoke with Larry Sharpe and find out the truth. And somebody gets somebody gets $50 and somebody loses $50.
Why
What
do you
is
want
the
to bet?
truth?
What do you want to bet the next time I go visit my sister?
What is Larry Sharpe hiding?
I wanna
behind
bet-
his
Next time I
vocals?
visit my sister in New York and Queens, I can go and do karaoke with Larry Sharpe.
No, maybe you
We need the
can.
truth,
I
Sharpe.
want to bet you $50, but we need to find out. I want it to be like a mission of our show to somebody fucking sing karaoke with Larry Sharpe and find out the truth about this.
Can we get Roger to get him
Well,
a
I'm
Pork
actually.
Fest?
Wait a minute. Well, me and Rico are going to be in New York City for WrestleMania in a week and a half. So maybe we can
you go.
maybe we can
Oh,
go
there you
do
go.
karaoke with Larry
By
Sharpe.
the way,
he doesn't
My
drink,
bet, my
so
bet
maybe
is
we can
still
that's
with
not a
Brian.
karaoke.
So you. Oh, that's a good question. I would like to do that.
Right?
All right, why don't we wrap up the show like Howie
wrap it
suggested?
up.
Talk more about karaoke with Larry Sharpe in the bonus show. But gentlemen, thank you for coming on. Thank you for actually getting all on the same call at the same time, and preferably, just being generally civil. And Howie, I'm impressed you weren't too interrupty today. I'm even including all your alcohol intake. So gold star for Howie, gold star for all of you for being incredibly professional, as professional as we could possibly get while drinking heavily. Gentlemen, it's been a good time. And again, today's episode of Lions of Liberty is brought to you by mathbot.com. The pen may be mightier than the sword, but it's the 21st century, friends, and now code is even mightier than the pen. So learn how to build the tools that will bring prosperity and freedom to the world, and learn how to code at mathbot.com. That is mathbot.com. Become mighty, my friends. And until next time, live long and live free.
Hey, this is Larry Sharpe doing karaoke. This is a song called Afternoon Delight. I'm going to find my baby, gotta hold her tight. I'm going to find some afternoon tonight. And around downtown in the night it's right. And the fold is sight and star, rocket team flight. Afternoon delight. Woo!